It's TV ratings that we live and die by. Ratings determined by those little black boxes called people meters that none of us ever seem to see. Some say ratings are a sham and paint no true picture of the present, past or future. So to find out what's worth it and what's not, Renee Brack consulted the TV psychics.
Hello, thanks for joining us.
It reads like a movie script.
So get on the blower.
But it's not necessarily something we'd want to boast about.
Both with extraordinary problems.
Not a pretty sight. I'm Darren Hitch.
They get in front of the camera for fame, fortune, and they stay there because of ratings.
Oh, I got a live one here.
Good ratings mean that you are watching TV.
Let's broaden our minds.
Bad ratings mean you're not.
Scumbags.
And some of these people will say,
I've seen the future and it will be.
And do anything to make you watch their show.
I hope you can join me next week for sex.
Television shows live and die by their ratings, so people in the business often wish they could predict the future. Well, there are some extraordinary ways of doing just that. I made a surprise visit to the president of the Australian Psychics Association, and guess what?
What?
He was expecting me.
Yeah? For the next 2 to 3 years, I see a really upfront form of journalism influencing the rest of the world. So the Sagittarian qualities, which are the search for truth, the search for an impartial truth, too, without taking sides.
I see that Australian television has come to the end of an era.
Think about the future, the future.
Tarot card reading and the casting of the stones have been around for centuries. These methods are probably just as accurate as the TV ratings game for predicting who will be a star and who will be little more than space debris. Brian Crowley threw the stones. Simon Turnbull used birth dates and tarot cards. Between them, some fascinating predictions were made for the future of the Australian television industry.
Even beyond.
Jana Ventner, Current Affair, have drawn Valour, which, not surprisingly, it means that she retire gracefully. However, the show itself may continue for a while longer, but it's definitely not a sudden demise. Jana's biggest fault would be a temptation to be a control freak. So I feel she'll continue behind the scenes after she leaves the front of camera.
Well, the future looks good for the First Lady of Television, but what about Channel 9's naughty princess, Sophie Lee? She's drawn the Ace of Swords.
Now we're looking at Sophie Lee. Synonymous with sex. Right. Well, Sophie Lee may become another Sophie Tucker in the sense of promoting herself as a sexual siren, so to speak, if she plays her cards right, because she's got the Ace of Swords with her card, which is, with her situation, which shows a triumph. So she'll always triumph over adversity.
So all the Sophie bashers out there are wasting their breath. According to the cards, Sophie can't put a foot wrong, or any other part of her body for that matter. But there is a downside. It'll be a long time before any of us know just how smart little Sophie really is.
And almost everyone will feel guilty about it.
Now, her situation is she may be exploited as being a dumb broad, a dumb bimbo, but in fact her intelligence is really there, quite strongly there.
I've seen the future and it works.
Brian Crowley has written 20 books and has been casting the stones for 20-odd years. He sees Jana as part of the old and Sophie Lee as part of the new.
I feel that there's going to be a mini revolution in the Australian television industry, almost like stepping off a cliff, moving into new areas. There's going to be a lot of controversy about this because the old order is going to want to hold on, but the new order will take over. I've done throws for all of these people just to get a feeling of who goes with the new and who stays with the old. Another one, for instance, who I see in a very precarious position is Steve Vizard. because of the banal sort of way his program has moved into raising the laugh at the expense of the content.
Clio magazine voted Steve Vizard as the unsexiest man alive, and even Simon found the Tonight Live host a little disappointing.
We've struck our first bummer. Steve Vizard has drawn the card disappointment, which means that he may lose a lot of money in the next year or two, so he needs to revise his position. So the best thing for him is perhaps he may need to consider a name change such as Steve Revizard.
The cards don't look too bad for George Negus and Max Walker, but...
George Negus has got the Hierophant right next to satiety, which means that he wants satisfaction from his work. Now, his trademark moustache will become an item of some concern. Max Walker could lose the mo. He needs a new image. It's showing here that, in fact, the Knight of Cups was the card he got. Then someone's going to help him in that particular area.
Sounds like staying in front of the camera could be a close shave for those two. So what about Stan Grant? Despite press headlines criticising him as bland, Stan the Man has drawn the love card.
So at first people might have found him a little bit stiff, and which would be natural in his first foray into the show, into real life. But as things move along, he'll become more liked. And he has actually got, he's one of the people on this table who has a huge future, but in a way that's not immediately perceivable.
The psychics have seen that being a reporter is not real life for Bob Hawke. His card is the universe, and they say Bob is merely amusing himself with 60 Minutes until something better comes along, such as a key to the executive washroom of some major international organisation.
I see him wielding a certain amount of influence there which will be of benefit to Australia, and which will also feed his ego, which is a very important part of his makeup.
While Bob may kiss the small screen goodbye, Ray Martin may be kissed off by the coffee-drinking watchers of daytime TV. Ray's card is the Queen of Cups.
The downside of that is that there is an element of his being taken off the air rather than going gracefully as Jan Event might go.
If rumours are true, the midday audience may want to swap Ray for Mike. No, not Mike Walsh. Mike Munro.
But that's some time to come, and it's only because perceived tastes will have changed, not because he's not doing a good job.
Darren's been doing it his way for some time now, but the science card is issuing him a warning.
I've seen the future and it will be.
Well, he's proven his reincarnation is possible. His ratings depend very much now on, like Steve Vizard, which is right next to Steve Vizard's card. He also runs the risk of he needs to find a fresh approach. He'll need that if he's to survive into the end of the 90s.
That's life. Good night.
A very disturbing report.
Then there was the future of hard copy and a surprising prediction for Gordon Elliott.
A story that all parents should see.
Well, we'll do a throw for hard copy, shall we? Hard copy, diverse, moving out in all sorts of new directions, generating a lot of turmoil in the industry, but definitely more in the new camp than the old.
Climb the ladder of fame right to the very top.
And I see it moving ahead leaps and bounds. And I'm not saying this just because I'm on the program. I see it here very solidly. There's some very important signs, and right in the center is the number 12, which is the Zulu number of great abundance. Because they say that if a Zulu man has only got 2 wives, they always quarrel and he has a dreadful time. He puts one in front to act as the mediator and he has abundance. So that means ratings of a very high order.
Well, that's good news, isn't it? But what do the tarot cards say?
Not surprisingly, Gordon Elliott has drawn the devil card, which implies that his sex life is likely to improve.
It adds a frightening dimension to an already horrific story.
The downside of the devil card is that there could be a little industry jealousy at the success of hard copy.
All I hope is that smoke really was just incense and that they both know what they're talking about.